A billionaire stops beside a homeless woman. What happens next will shock you. The city never sleeps. Cars dart through intersections, horns blaring, mixing with the distant hum of chatter. Sidewalks pulse with life, businessmen rushing to meetings, tourists snapping selfies, joggers weaving through the crowd. But in the middle of it all, Angela doesn't move. She's been planted on the same bench for months, across from a coffee shop where the rich smell of brewing beans never reaches her. In front of her sits a worn fast food cup, its colours faded, a few coins clinking inside. Most people walk past without a glance. Some spare her half a second before looking away, as if noticing her would make her their problem. Angela used to fight for this country. A Marine, strong, unbreakable. Now she fights just to survive another day. Her rough hands grip the straps of her old military backpack, the last relic of her past. Everything she owns fits inside: a thin blanket, a frayed sweatshirt, a few cans from a church food drive. She shifts, stretching her stiff legs. Sleeping on concrete does things to a body, things she never imagined she'd endure. Early spring air nips at her skin. The metal bench bites through her layers of clothes. Across the street, people sip lattes and laugh like the world can't touch them. Then, a car slows down. Not just any car, a sleek black Rolls-Royce, the kind that looks like it drove straight out of a magazine. The tinted window cracks open just enough for the driver to murmur to someone in the back. Then the door swings wide. A man steps out, tall, sharp, charcoal suit, a watch that probably costs more than this whole block. Angela doesn't recognize him at first, but there's something familiar in his face. Maybe she's seen him on the news, on a billboard, a billionaire, the kind of man whose name moves mountains. She expects the usual, a glance, maybe a pitying nod, before he walks away. But he doesn't. He walks toward her. Angela tenses. She's met all types, do-gooders with empty promises, preachy strangers judging her life. She braces for the worst, but he doesn't speak. Instead, he sits beside her, hands resting on his knees, silent. She side-eyes him, waiting for the pitch, some charity spiel, a photo op disguised as kindness. Then he turns, looks at her, not through her. "You were in the military?" His voice is calm, certain. Angela narrows her eyes. "How'd you know?" He nods at her backpack. "Standard issue gear and your posture, shoulders straight, back rigid, trained." She lets out a sharp breath. Most people miss details like that. "Yeah," she mutters. "Marine Corps." He nods like he already knew. She doesn't ask how. Maybe he's sharp. Maybe he's been around enough vets to spot the signs. Either way, it's been years since someone looked at her and saw more than just another homeless woman. But one thing doesn't add up. Men like him don't stop for women like her. Men like him don't sit on cold park benches, not when they've got private jets waiting. So why is he here? And more importantly, what does he want? Angela shifts, her grip tightening on her backpack straps. She's used to people glancing her way before vanishing into their busy lives. But this billionaire, he's different. He just sits there, watching the city like time means nothing. She exhales, staring ahead. "You going to tell me why you're here? Or are we just going to sit in silence?" The man leans back, hands folded. "I saw you," he says simply. Angela scoffs. "Plenty of people see me. Most don't stop." "Most don't know what they're looking at," he counters. "They see a woman on a bench, maybe a cautionary tale. I see someone who's been through hell and made it out alive." She studies him now, really looks. There's something in his eyes, something heavy, like a weight he doesn't talk about. He doesn't look at her with pity, and that's what throws her off. "You a vet too?" she asks, testing him. He shakes his head. "Number. But my father was Army. 2 tours. Never talked about it, but I saw what it did to him." A pause. and I saw what happened when he came home. Angela's shoulders loosened slightly. She won't admit it, but it's easier talking to someone who gets it, even if it's second-hand. Civilians don't understand what it's like to give everything for your country, then come back to nothing. "You never said your name," she mutters. A faint smirk tugs at his lips, like he's amused she hasn't figured it out yet. "Elliot Baines." Her eyes widen. Now she knows where she's seen him. Not just rich, one of those rich men. CEO of a tech empire, philanthropist, the kind of billionaire who's always in headlines. People either love him or hate him, but everyone knows his name. She lets out a dry laugh. "What the hell's a guy like you doing sitting with someone like me?" Elliot doesn't flinch. Maybe I needed a reminder that money doesn't fix everything. Angela snorts. "Tell that to my empty stomach." He nods, like he expected that. "When's the last time you had a real meal?" She shrugs. "Some guy gave me a sandwich yesterday. Before that?" She trails off. Elliot presses his palms together. "Come with me. Let's get you food." Angela shakes her head. "No offense, but I don't trust guys in suits offering favors." "I get that," he says. "But this isn't about a favor. It's about a conversation, one you might need more than you realize." She hesitates. Logic screams no. She's been burned before by do-gooders who just want to feel noble. But something about him feels genuine. And damn, she's hungry. "Fine," she grumbles, grabbing her backpack. "But if you try anything shady, I've got a mean right hook." Elliot chuckles. "Noted." They stand, and for the first time in years, Angela walks beside someone who doesn't make her feel invisible. But what does he really want? She follows Elliot down the sidewalk, keeping a few steps back, instincts on high alert. People move aside for him without a word, his expensive suit, his power, clearing the way. Meanwhile, she's spent years being ignored, fading into the background. The contrast twists her gut. Elliot stops outside a quiet restaurant. Not flashy, but definitely not the kind of place that welcomes someone in rags carrying their whole life in a backpack. Angela freezes. Angela's been thrown out of places like this before, usually before she even makes it through the door. "You sure about this?" she mutters, eyeing the restaurant warily. Elliot doesn't hesitate. "Yeah? You?" She takes a deep breath and braces herself as they step inside. The air wraps around her, rich with the scent of seared meat and fresh-baked bread. Warm, comforting, the kind of feeling she hasn't known in years. A waiter approaches, his polite smile freezing when he sees Angela. His eyes dart between her ragged clothes and Elliot's impeccable suit. She knows that look, the silent debate about whether she belongs here. But before the waiter can speak, Elliot cuts in. "2 seats, booth in the back." "Of course, sir." The waiter responds instantly. Just like that, they're seated. A crisp white napkin lies before her, silverware that actually gleams. Angela scans the room, half expecting security to appear any second. When no one comes, she exhales and picks up the menu. "Get whatever you want," Elliot says. She hesitates, eyes tracing over the options. It's been so long since she's had a real choice. Most meals come from whatever the shelter serves or what she can scavenge. "You're gonna regret that offer," she warns, then orders a steak, mashed potatoes, and a slice of pie. Elliot smirks. Good choice. A heavy silence settles between them. Angela shifts in her seat, sensing something unspoken hanging in the air. Finally, she breaks it. "You gonna tell me why you're really here?" Elliot leans forward, elbows resting on the table. "You ever think about how you ended up here?" Angela stiffens. "You mean homeless, or everything that led to it?" "Both." She leans back. "I don't like thinking about it. Thinking doesn't change anything." "But it matters," he insists. "Your story matters." "To who?" She scoffs. Elliot's gaze never wavers. "To me." For the first time, she sees hesitation flicker in his eyes, like he's carefully choosing his words. "My father came back from war a different man," he says finally. "Drowned himself in alcohol, couldn't keep a job, pushed everyone away. And when he lost everything, no one helped him." Angela's throat tightens. She knows that story. She's lived that story. "I was just a kid," Elliot continues. "Didn't understand then, but I do now. I know what it's like to watch someone disappear through the cracks of a system that doesn't care." Angela stays quiet for a long moment. "That why you stopped?" she asks. "Because I remind you of him?" Elliot exhales sharply. "Maybe." He meets her eyes. "Or maybe I just got tired of walking past people like you and pretending it wasn't my problem." Her breath catches. People have given her food before, tossed coins in her cup. But no one's ever said this. No one's ever admitted they saw her, really saw her, and actually cared. The food arrives, breaking the tension. Angela picks up her fork but doesn't eat right away, studying Elliot as she tries to figure him out. "All right, rich guy," she says finally. "Let's say I believe you. What happens now?" Elliot leans back, a faint smirk forming. "That depends on you. But what he's about to propose will change everything." Angela chews slowly, savoring the warm food, the first real meal she's had in too long. But Elliot's words hang between them, heavy with possibility. "What do you mean it depends on me?" she asks, setting down her fork. Elliot folds his hands on the table, ready to make an offer that could alter the course of her life. "I want to help you, not just with a meal, not just for one night. For good." Angela stiffens. She's heard this before, kind words from people who vanish when things get hard, promises that dissolve like sugar in rain. She laughs, the sound hollow. "You want to save me? Is that it?" Elliot doesn't flinch. "Number. I want to give you an opportunity. What you do with it is up to you." Angela narrows her eyes. "What kind of opportunity?" He leans in slightly. "A job. I own businesses, foundations. I could get you started somewhere steady, help you rebuild your life." Angela scoffs. "Chick, you don't even know me." "I know enough," he says firmly. "I know you're not here because you're lazy. I know you've survived things that would break most people. And I know you're more than what the world sees when it looks at you." Her fingers tighten around the fork. Part of her wants to believe him, wants to think someone finally sees her as a person, not a problem. But trust doesn't come easy when life's kicked you this many times. "Why me?" she asks. "Why not someone else?" Elliot exhales. "Because I've walked past too many people like you before and did nothing. I don't want to do that anymore." Angela stares at her plate. The last time she had a job, a roof, a future, it feels like someone else's life. "Think about it," Elliot says, sliding a business card across the table. "No decision today, but if you want a way out, this door's open." She pockets the card without a word. But what happens next? Neither of them could have predicted it. Someone snaps a photo. By morning, the internet explodes. Billionaire Elliot Baines spotted dining with homeless veteran. What's the real story? Social media erupts. Some call him a hero. Others sneer it's a PR stunt. Angela only realizes when she wakes to reporters outside the shelter. "Angela, what did he offer you? Is this just for publicity? Will you take his help?" The questions hit like shrapnel. She ducks her head, hood up, but the cameras follow. Life was hard before, now she's a spectacle. Later, she sits on that bench again, card clutched in her hand. She could toss it, disappear like always, or she could call. People still walk past, but now they see her, and she's not sure that's better. The next morning, she slips into a library, fingers trembling as she types, "Elliot Baines, father, military." The screen floods with results. Daniel Baines, US Army, 2 tours, died in a VA hospital 10 years ago. Angela's breath catches. She knows that name, not from headlines, from fluorescent lit VA support groups, from the chair 2 spots to her left where a quiet man with haunted eyes used to sit. Daniel. She clicks frantically, pulse roaring. The last time she saw him? He was crying. And Elliot's photo. God, she sees it now. The same jawline, the same stubborn set of the shoulders. Her stomach drops. This isn't charity. This is revenge. Daniel Baines had just lost his apartment. Don't want to be a burden on my boy, he'd muttered in that VA meeting. I'll figure something out. A month later, he was dead. Angela leans back in the library chair, the glow of the computer screen casting shadows across her face. This wasn't random. Elliot Baines didn't just stop because he saw a homeless veteran. He stopped because she was a ghost from his father's past. Her hands shake as she steps outside. The morning air bites, but the realization cuts deeper. To Elliot, she wasn't just another face on the street. She was a living reminder of everything he'd lost. That afternoon, the business card feels heavy in her fingers. Mr. Baines's office. A crisp voice answers. Angela's throat tightens. Tell him it's Angela, he'll know. A pause, then, I was hoping you'd call. Elliot's voice comes through clear. I knew your father, she blurts. Silence. Then a quiet exhale. I figured you'd put it together. Why not just tell me? Because this isn't about guilt, Elliot says, steady. I didn't stop for you because of my dad. I stopped because I know what happens when people like him, like you, get ignored. And I'm done being that person. Angela closes her eyes. For the first time in years, someone's words don't feel like empty pity. Come to my office, Elliot says. No cameras, no press, just the truth. The glass skyscraper looms. Angela grips her backpack straps, the city's noise fading beneath her pounding heart. She could still run, disappear, but something, maybe hope, keeps her rooted. The lobby gleams, all marble and money. The receptionist's eyes widen, but before she can speak, Elliot appears. Angela. There's relief in his gaze. Come in. His office is all skyline views and sleek surfaces. Angela crosses her arms. No audience now, so tell me, what do you really want? Elliot leans against his desk. To give you a job, not charity. Doing what? Filing papers? Saving lives? His voice drops. I'm funding a veterans center, real help, not band-aids, counseling, jobs, housing, but I need people who've been in the trenches, literally, people like you. Angela's breath catches. This isn't a handout, it's a lifeline. The newly painted sign gleams in the Texas sun. The Daniel Baines Veterans Support Center. Angela runs a hand through her now short hair, her boots clean for the first time in years. Beside her, Elliot watches workers put final touches on the building. You really named it after him? She murmurs. Elliot nods. He'd want this. Inside, staff bustle, social workers, fellow vets. Angela thinks of her old bench, of all the eyes that looked through her. You could have walked past me that day, she says suddenly. Why didn't you? Elliot's smile is quiet, but real. My dad once told me, you only fail people by refusing to see them. The first veteran arrives, scuffed boots, hollow eyes. Angela steps forward, hand outstretched, because today someone finally sees him, just like someone finally saw her. Angela's story isn't unique. Thousands of veterans sleep on streets they once swore to protect. But change starts with a single moment, with seeing someone. If this story moved you, volunteer at local shelters, support veteran non-profits, or simply look, really look, at those society ignores, because sometimes the bravest battle isn't fought overseas, but in coming home to a country that forgot you. Everyone deserves a second chance. Even you can help write that next chapter.